Hello and welcome back to yet another exciting episode of Action Reaction, featuring the Peter Benjamin Parker from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Ensure that you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon for any of my future contents. So let's start with this figure. Now, as you remember, we had the grading system. So the first parameter is the box. Let's have a look at the box. Okay, we see Peter Benjamin Parker and all his accessories that come with the box. I just move it around. We see a fantastic portrait of Peter Benjamin Parker. We go back. This is part of the Build-A-Figure series for Stiltman. So you have all the details of the figures necessary to make Stiltman. And of course, we have the bio of Peter Benjamin Parker, which I'll put into a photo right now. We see another still of Peter Benjamin Parker with a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse logo on the top. Let's see if it's, yeah, that's how the instructions. So again, fantastic box. I'll not go the entire route of 1 for it. So I'm scaling this out of 1. I'll give it a 0.75. This is a very nice box. Now let's give a shout out to my buddy Dean, who will help us open this box. Let's do this. So here we have Peter Benjamin Parker out of the box with his box. So, and handsomely earned 0.75 for it. So here is it. We finally have our Peter Parker out of the box, and we are now going to grade this particular figure on 2 particular points. Those would be its design and its articulation. Let's start our design grading with looking at the accessories. So with the base figure, what we have is an alternate sculpt for Peter Parker's head, wherein he has a Spider-Man mask on his head. What we are missing is the actual face covered with the Spider-Man mask. I mean, I would have been happy if I would have gotten that particular version. It would have gone well with my collection of Spider-Man. Next we have is a soda can, I would say. I mean, this goes very well. I mean, I have seen pictures. This goes very well with this particular action figure. You know, this is sort of a very relaxing, very chilled out Spider-Man who has given up on life in some matters. So this goes well with him. Are his closed fists. Yeah, this is the right one, this is the left one. And the fist which would make his webs come out. The head of a Marvel villain called Stiltman. So I do not have any other parts, so probably this will go in my bin where I collect the Build-A-Figure parts. Hopefully someday, hopefully someday. So now is the time to actually review the designs. So before our review, this is what I normally do. I'll just give you a chance, roll around this figure and give you a chance to look at this figure. This, I feel, is a very true representation or very close representation with the Spider-Man character that we had seen in the movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So if we go, this is sort of an aged Peter Parker, probably in his late 30s. If you can see it clearly, he has a stubble look, he is kind of messy. You know, that's how it is. Hair not maintained. But that's who the Peter Parker is in this particular movie. And this is the original Marvel 616 version of Spider-Man or Peter Parker. Now, if we go, his head is very well sculpted. I mean, I like it. This is sort of like gives you the vibe of a relaxed individual. So this is very nice. Then he has a trench coat. The trench coat is very well designed. If you see, this is just one open part of the trench coat and rest of the trench coat is followed in his hand. So I wouldn't really suggest you to remove this trench coat. It will just ruin the design of this particular figure. So it goes the way it is. What we also have is partial Spider-Man costume. Basically his shirt, which comes with a very traditional, very old school Spider-Man logo, which is nice. What I would have also appreciated is some webbings which were designed or which were painted in black. You know, that is sort of an element that would have added more authenticity to this particular figure. Then he has a sweatpant, which thankfully he got. I had got the opportunity to look at some of the deleted scenes of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where he just came into this particular dimension wherein the movie was shot buck naked, right? So he found the sweatpant, thankfully. And this is something that is like the USP of this figure. 2 different shoes. I mean, this is like very intelligent thought process, you know. Just to give an overall messy feeling, they have put in sort of a boot and sort of a canvas or a sneaker on canvas shoe or a sneaker on his leg. So overall, I mean, in terms of design, This is well articulated. It comes with a lot of accessories. What it's missing is just the black webs that should have been present on the Spider-Man suit, and probably a head sculpt with actual Spider-Man mask. That would have been better. But with what accessories we have got, I think this is a good bargain. So for our design, I am very big on design. So we have 3 points for design. I'll give it, I would say 1.75 for the design aspect of this. This is a very well. If you look at the face, I mean, this is not photoreal. This could be photoreal technology, and this matches very well with the actual movie. So I'm very happy with the design. You know what? I'll just bump it up to 2. I think 2 is justice for this. This is a very good figure. I love this figure. Now let's take a look at the articulation capabilities of this particular figure. So what we see is a very long neck. It comes with a ball joint and it pops out and pops in quite easily. So I'm happy with that. Let's take a look. This is his hair. It goes down this much, which is very good. It goes up this much. So it has a range of movement that I'm very happy it has. Then of course it will go to its right, it will go to its left, it will go completely around. So a very good head sculpt is what I'll say. And probably the extension on this neck, helps it in terms of moving up or down. That gives an extra bit of space when it sort of hits on its shoulder, so it's not stopped by anything. So that's very good. Now let's take a look at his hand. Let's see. Okay, this is how much it goes up, and I think it goes around completely. It goes around completely, which is always a plus. Plus he comes with a bicep curl, which is nice. And I think this is a double jointed arm. So let's see. Almost a 90 degree. Hello. Almost a 90 degree, which is good. And then his hand in particular, it goes completely around. And I'm assuming it will have a in and a out, which is nice. So I think I'm satisfied with this. Yeah, the articulations on hands are good. On his right, we have a special hand which is designed specifically so that he can hold this soda cup, which is nice. Yeah, and again, it also goes in and comes out. So that's a good. Now, in terms of his body, what I see is a chest articulation. Let's see how it works. Now, I'm again locking the waist. Let's see if we can remove. Oh man. I'm actually very afraid of pulling out the hands from the figure. You know what, I'll not do it. I'll try to show as much as I can. Okay. Okay, this waist is very difficult for us to do, so let's try something else. Okay, this is how much it goes down, and I know this is not really a good. His head just keeps coming down. This is how much it can go up. Particularly because of this waistcoat is what I'm thinking this particular articulation is not useful. I mean, I would have been fine if they wouldn't have given it. And I said this is good, but it keeps coming out. So bad. Alright. So the chest articulation is as good as, not being there. I mean, you can do certain poses, which I cannot. So it has articulation, I wouldn't say, but it would be limited because of his waistcoat. So yeah, I mean, that's how the figure is, so I'll not hold it against it. Then it has a waist articulation, which goes, because of this trench coat, I cannot really show you. Okay, let's try this. It goes down, it goes up, almost, I would say, decent amount of articulation. It completely goes around, and I'm not sure if he can do a side-by-side swivel. Should be able to do it, but let's see. Okay, and even if he is, I won't be able to show it, but yeah. He does a side-by-side swivel, which is nice. But I think this waistcoat, if they would have made it with sort of a softer plastic, that would have given this particular figure more range. So let's take a look at his legs. So here, and it goes a cool 90 degree, which is nice. So it goes this much out. Yeah, I had some other figures which could completely turn around, but this, I believe, it's stopping it, so that's not good. Okay, but yeah, it almost goes 90 degree in the back, which is nice, which I have not really seen. Now, it also has a thigh articulation, which helps the leg go completely around, which is good. Then as we come to the knees, I am assuming it is a double jointed knee, but it doesn't look like that. I think it's a single jointed knee. Yeah, it is a single jointed knee, which would give it a 90 degree articulation on his knee. Now his legs, there are two additional articulations on his upper leg here. If you can see this, where the point where exactly his sweatpants end, which helps the leg go completely around. I mean, that's the basic articulation on this thing. They will just go around. I'm not sure what is the use, but probably just turning his leg around. Because if you go on the toe articulation, we just have a up and a down. With this particular figure, again a up, down, and a up. So I think it does have a limited side-by-side swivel, but I think just to compensate that, they might have given this additional articulation. Yeah, this particular shoe, yeah, it also does a side-by-side swivel. I thought it wouldn't do, but it does it. Yeah, so overall articulation wise, this is a solid figure. I think this waistcoat adds, or this jacket, I'm not sorry, this is not a waistcoat, this is a jacket. This adds to the limitation of figure. I would have been very happy if they would have gone for something that was more softer than this. This is limiting the figure in many aspects. So I think for the 2 points of articulation, I would go as high as 1.25 for this particular figure. This, again, don't get, I mean, the articulations go around completely, but I am getting, I was trying to stand this figure up, and I would be seeing a lot of posing limitations that this particular figure might have. The articulations are done fantastically, but just some thought process in this would have helped this figure. So I think I'll go with a 1.25 for this particular figure. Now we move to the final aspect. That is where I pose this figure and give you some information about this particular figure. So this is an interpretation of Peter Parker from the movie Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. This is our Marvel Earth 616 Spider-Man, who has fallen onto some bad times. He even has Mary Jane Watson, who has left him, and he's sort of in a very bad place. So he's sort of a disappointed Spider-Man who comes into the ultimate universe of Miles Morales and again gets the confidence to be a hero, right? So I can give you more details, but if you have already seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, then that information is of no use. But if you have not, I'll highly suggest you go and watch that movie. It happens to be one of my favorite movies. So in terms of availability, this figure is very easily available. I mean, I went to a couple of Targets and I found it in at least 90% of them. If I visited like 4 Targets, I found this figure readily available in at least 3 of them. So availability is not an issue. Also, we have our online partners who can still offer this figure. And this is a figure that you need to have. If you have a Spider-Man collection, this is a figure that you need to have. In terms of availability, I'll give it an entire 2. It deserves it. Finally, you have already seen the posing capabilities of this particular figure. I thought that in terms of articulation, it could be a bit hard to pose it, but with right equipments, I think we can pose it much better. So, in terms of posing, I'm going to give this a 1.5 out of 2, which roundabouts the final score to a respectable 7.5 out of 10. So, if you're having a decision about whether you need to buy this figure or not, I would suggest go for it, get this figure. This is like a Peter Parker who would be a worthy addition to your Spider-Man collection. So I think with that, I will close my review. Thank you for watching this review, and again, please subscribe to the channel for the notifications related to the new content. So good day and see you in the next review. Bye.